Welcome back to the Barry Charles Footy Show. On today's show, we're going to talk about the Gold Coast Titans top 17 for 2023. We're going to look at the losses, we're going to look at the gains, and then I'll pick my top 17 for Gold Coast Titans for 2023. Well, first off, let's have a look at the losses. Who have they lost the Titans in 2023? You got Herman Esiese, Jamin Asako, Sam Lasoni, Greg Marju, Kevin Proctor, Will Smith, Corey Thompson to retirement, and Jared Wallace. But to be fair, Dinkum, a lot of them are journeymen. None of them are really star players, so they haven't really lost anyone super. But a lot of depth, you could say. That's the only worry you'd have. A lot of depth has disappeared. But who have they signed to make themselves look a little bit stronger this year? Obviously, he could be the signing of the year, but I doubt he will be because I don't think this overall squad's strong enough. But Kieran Foran is obviously the big signing for the Gold Coast Titans. Aaron Shoup from the Bulldogs, he's going to be a nice addition to the side. Sam Verrills, we'll see if he's an 80-minute footballer. We're going to find out. And also Joe Stimson, he's obviously going to be a chance, and Chris Randall. So, obviously the first question you've got to ask yourself is just like Adam O'Brien, Justin Holbrook, will he last the season? I would say this right now, if they lose, if they're not in the top 8, Justin Holbrook will be gone. And maybe Mal Meninga will make a return. People say, never say never, but it could be the chance for the big Mal Meninga to come back. But anyway, what you all been waiting for, let's rock and roll into what this squad could look like in 2023. Well, there's going to be a lot of conjecture on the side, to be honest, because there's probably about 5 people trying to go for 3 positions. And it doesn't work out. You got Aj Brimson versus Jayden Campbell. You got Tanah Boyd versus Toby Sexton. And you got Aaron Clark, you got Chad Randall, you got him with obviously Sam Verrills. So there's a big competition here for spots in this squad. Not necessarily superstars, but there's going to be a bit of a question on how they work this around. But for me, the one I'll be going for fullback is Jayden Campbell. I just think you need someone electric. And I think he has the electric power to do that, the razzle dazzle. Some people say he'll need a more passing game, which he will develop, but just on sheer instinct, he just reminds me a bit of the old Anthony Mundine, Nathan Blacklock type players. You really, obviously his dad, Preston Campbell, obviously got to be a big opportunity there. But going back to who should be on the wings. Now, this is where they really are struggling. Obviously the young gun Jojo Fafita, he'll be there, and I would assume Philip Sammy will get the other spot, but that is no guarantee. With also the halves, the centre's a little bit of an issue for me with the Titans, but obviously Aaron Shoup should get one of those, and probably Brian Kelly. But yeah, not with any big conviction. And Brian Kelly coming off contract, going to be interesting to see if they re-sign him. Well, the halves, again, congestion here. Do you put Kieran Foran at 7 or 6? I think you just keep him at 6. And this is probably the biggest call for mine, but the way he played the back end of the season, Tanah Boyd, he's my number 7. So where does that leave Sexton? Is he going to be in the team? Well, you'll have to find out after. As we get to the props, where do you go to with the props here? Well, obviously for me, Tino makes the move to the prop position for mine. I just think he just has to. He has to move to the prop position. Futuaka, he picks himself. That will be would be the prop pairing. Sam Verrills will get the first crack at number 9. I'm not guaranteed he's going to stay there. He could end up 14. It's going to be an interesting battle there. Bo Firma picks himself. He'll be there. Isaac Liu could come off the bench, but I've got him starting in this one. In the 13, this is a contentious one. A lot of people say keep Tino there, but I don't know if Tino's got a big enough offload for mine. So that's why this is where, obviously, this is another one that I forgot about the saying with the comparison there. Aj Brimson. Aj Brimson here. He could play 6, he could play fullback. I'm going to say he can play 13 lock and be the Victor Radley type player. He might have to work on his defence, but I think this is a sure sign. If they want to get improvement and be a top 8 side, they've got to do something like this. They need a bit more razzle dazzle to get themselves going, the Titans. Which leaves the bench. Where do you go from here? Well, there's obviously a few ways you can go here. You can either go for Sexton, but for me, I've gone for Aaron Clark because I can't see Sam Farrell's been an 80-minute player as yet. Which obviously David Fafita, people say should be starting, but I just think he's, to me, still a bench player for mine. I think they did the right thing wrong. Just let this thing come out of the attack and away you go. Joe Stimson, he'll be somewhere in the right there. And for me, Khalees Huss, he's one to look out for here next season. I think he's going to get a red hot crack this season, and I think he's going to get a bench spot for 2023. Now that's obviously leaving out Toby Sexton, which is easy to say, and Chris Randall and Patrick Herbert. So they've got a little bit of depth, not super, but in the key positions they've got depth. So if Aj Brimson gets injured, Jayden Campbell, so both fullbacks, Kieran Foran, and with Aj Brimson as well, and you're going to add Tanah Boyd, and you got Toby Sexton, Tanah Boyd in the 7. So there's a lot, and then Sam Farrell's, Aaron Clark, and Chris Randall at a push. You really have got a lot of depth in those positions, which is very rare, which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. It's going to be interesting to see how Justin Holbrook gets the best out of this team. So what are my views on the Titans squad? A bit like the few I've already done. I just don't know if they've got the depth to handle injury. And I had them as a top 8 team last year, so that tells you on. They've probably got a better squad this year. Yeah, so they're on the fringe of the top 8 for me and the Titans. I'm not convinced that Justin Holbrook's the man. I think Justin Holbrook will be getting his marching orders by mid-season. I could be pretty wrong. Kieran Foran is a very solid player, no doubt about it. He's a very solid player. But I wouldn't say he can run the team around. That's my query for the Titans. Have they got the man to run the team around? I think Tanah Boyd's the best option for that reason. I'll put him at 7. The razzle dazzle, that's probably something else if they got that. And I think Aj Brimson could be that Victor Radley type player if he wants to develop that into his game. So going to be interesting times for all you Gold Coast Titans fans. But I'm still not convinced they're going to be the top 8 material. I think they're just going to miss the cut if I have to make a prediction. So I hope you enjoyed this preview of the squads. To me, I just feel that the Titans are probably going to struggle again this season, but they could be developing into a good squad. But time will tell, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with David Fafita if he ends up staying or going. I expect he'll end up going, but it'll be depending on the money. It's an interesting one. I've heard some people saying 900,000 for Fafita. Are you kidding me? I think that's just ludicrous. I think at best 700, and that's at best. On his current form, probably deserves 500, to be honest. But it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. But anyway, until the next video, take care.